amazing instrument. It has developed into an incredible voice in today's music. So many types of guitars, so many styles of playing, all sorts of gear. How does one make their voice be heard as a guitarist? My name is Jeff Floro, and welcome to All About Guitar, where we talk tone, we talk technique, we talk gear. Where we discover how we can become better musicians in a world of constantly changing technologies, where we take a good look at everything guitar, and sometimes not exactly guitar, but just as important, so we can be more successful as a musician in today's music scene. So sit back and relax, and let's explore all about guitar. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to All About Guitar. We have a great show for you tonight. I want to welcome back the gang from Strymon. They're makers of some of the most amazing pedals and effects that you can use on guitars, keyboards, whatever. And this is our third show together, and I just want to welcome Pete Celi, Ethan Tufts, and Jack Heine off camera. Pete's the co-founder of the company. Ethan's the VP of marketing, and Jack is artist relations, and he's the guy that's helped me put this together. So thank you, Jack, for doing that. I want to welcome you guys back. It's great to have you back on the show, and I'm really excited about some of these new pedals that you're using, especially today we're going to talk about one of their newest ones, the Iridium. So, Pete, I'm going to let you just go at it and start explaining everything.
All right. This is a technical difficulty, a tough way to start the show, but I believe the Flint is set up to be in stereo currently, because I'm only hearing one channel.
Let's take it out of the equation for now.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Remove it.
That's a very good idea.
We're just going to go right ahead and make some changes here. We're going to do all Iridium.
So we're into the Iridium now, and I'm going to show you this little guy.
Okay.
And I'll let him explain exactly what it is, because it's more than just a cab simulator or whatever. It does a lot more.
Yeah, the Iridium is our newest product. It contains three classic iconic amplifiers, and each is paired with three individual cabinets, and it uses the latest IR technology, impulse response technology, to allow for very high fidelity, 500 millisecond, 96 kilohertz impulse response, which is state of the art and allows for all the detailed nuance of the cabinet captures to be faithfully recorded. And then on top of that, we have a room control to set the amplifier in the cabinet, in the environment of a physical space. And that room control also makes use of impulse response technology for the early reflections to give you a very accurate, sense of, spatial cues that creates a very, just a very natural environment.
So how big does the room get? Can you go from like a small room like this to like a stadium?
Not probably. Stadium is doesn't go that large. The idea is that it's really to be like the ambience and the reflections of room. So the small room is very small, and then the medium one is a little bit more space and size, and then the largest room is I'd say it's probably like a small hall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And so the amp and cab and room setup is really, this whole product is the main purpose of this is to have great amp and cab tone in any direct situation. So if you're going direct to a PA in a live situation, or you want to, you're in a studio and you want some really amazing guitar tones, or you want to play through headphones at home, that's the whole purpose of this product is for going direct and leaving your amp at home. It's not saying you're going to always want to ditch your amp, but there's a lot of situations for you when you might not want to use one.
Well, besides using as a standalone amplifier with the amp and the cab simulations, what we're going to listen to, can you set this up to like put a head into this or something, like a line out? Can you run it like that?
No, the main purpose of this is direct situations and not in conjunction with an
Okay.
amplifier.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of its own little standalone, which
Yes,
is very cool.
Exactly.
You can use, if you're going into the a power amp in of another amp, you can basically take the amplifier tone that's generated here and run that through a powered system. You could run that into the effects return or the power amp in of your amp, but you wouldn't want to go into the front end of your amplifier.
Right. No, but like for example, what you have set up here, you were going to run the Flint into it, so you could, because there's like these they're not pedals, but there's like Synergy makes this whole preamp front end that you can use that goes into like a loop like that. So I was just wondering if that would work like that, so you could use a real high gain amp. Though, to be honest with you, I'm anxious to hear the Flint, but the Flint's a reverb tremolo, but your Riverside would do fine.
Right. Yeah. Iridium was designed, to work, with pedals in pedal board formats, so that it responds and reacts to boosts and overdrive and fuzz pedals in front of it, just like your amp would.
Like a regular amp.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's take a listen to this thing.
Okay, so what we've got here, the first amplifier we have is the round amplifier, and that's based on the Fender Deluxe Reverb, black panel Fender Deluxe Reverb, which is very well known, probably the most famous of the Fender amplifiers, and it creates a very nice. It's got a top end, but it's still got some warmth to it, and it's got a nice range of clean tones, and then kind of get some breakup towards the end. And we've applied our matrix modeling, which is what we use to capture the various elements and circuit topologies of the amplifiers, and it creates a very faithful reproduction of the tone stacks, which are the most important tone shaping elements through an amplifier. So here, so that's the amplifier with no room control going on.
Now you have bass, middle, and treble. They're all straight up right now.
Yeah. We're all 12 o'clock. And I'm going to add a little room on there, so you'll see what how that can really just when you're listening to an amplifier in a room, or miking it, basically it's not in an anechoic chamber. There's always going to be some reflections.
Right.
So that's why we've added the room control to kind of fill in that last part of the sound.
It's subtle, but you can hear it.
Yeah. So that's the idea. With it off, it sounds much more kind of just isolated, but.
Now let me ask you, what you're on Cab A?
That's right.
So what's Cab A for the Deluxe?
Cab A is a cabinet from Ownhammer, and it's from a Blues Deluxe with a Fender speaker in it.
Deluxe. Let's see. That one's the Deluxe Reverb 1x12.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's open back with a ceramic 12-inch speaker in it.
Ethan knows, yeah.
I know because I'm reading it.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's cool. So that's A, Cab A.
Yeah.
And it's important to know, we haven't gone through many cabs yet, but obviously you can load in your own IRs here.
Right. Now, let me ask you, since
right.
you're talking about the cabs for this amp, because it's different for each amp, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's B?
So B, Blues Junior 1x12. That's from Cab IR is the company that made that.
So that's a Blues. The first one's a regular Deluxe open back.
Yeah, Deluxe
Yeah.
Reverb open back.
Okay, Blues Deluxe, and that's a close back.
Blues Junior.
Blues Junior is the second. Yeah.
That one. Let's see.
It's actually partially open.
Yep.
Partially open. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what's C?
Vibrolux 210 from Cab IR.
Very cool. Now people forget the Vibrolux. That's a great sounding little amp with the 210s. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, we've got the so we're on cab C now with the Vibrolux. So the Deluxe Reverb had just had a bass and treble control. There's no mid control. So we've added we have a middle control on Iridium, and what that does is at 12 o'clock it gives you the same response as the Deluxe Reverb did. So that's the kind of classic Deluxe Reverb sound, but with the middle control you can scoop it out further to get more of a even kind of a cleaner, less mid-range tone. Or if you go above 12 o'clock, it adds mid-range, which also adds essentially adds gain to the whole structure. And at maximum, it's the same level of mid response that the old Tweed Deluxes had. So you kind of can go from the Black Panel Deluxe to the Tweed Deluxe by turning it maximum.
Oh, very cool.
So it
but the mid boosts like just on like the older Fenders with the mid, it acted. Some people would just crank that up just to boost the gain.
Because in addition to kind of filling in the mids, it also increases the entire signal level going to the next stage.
So here's the bass middle treble right here, and then he's got the switches here for the amp and the cab. Here's your level, output level, the drive for distortion, and then here's that room switch so you see what's going on. And then you have two foot switches. One's for on and off.
Yep.
And then the other one is
It's a favorite, yeah. So you can set up the controls any way you want, and then store it to the favorite, and then it'll just instantly switch
go
over.
back to that whatever.
Right.
So you basically have two settings.
Sure.
That you can switch between.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then we also have our expression pedal input on the back, which will work with our multi-switch plus, where you could get 3 more instant settings, and then of course it also will accept MIDI through that TRS connection, and you can have 300 presets to recall through MIDI if you have a MIDI switching system.
Oh,
so there's
very cool.
300 presets loaded. They're not. We don't have 300 individual curated
factory presets,
yeah,
correct. But you could save.
but
you could tweak whatever you wanted.
Exactly.
Since you're going through the pedal itself, let's go ahead and just talk about this back panel. So he has left and right, in and out, and you can switch it mono, stereo, or sum.
Right.
And then you have what's in, out, left, and right, and then the expression MIDI, and then you have a USB port or plug so you can program it.
Right. The USB is when you're we have software, impulse response loader software that's part of the Iridium system. So if you just plug your USB to your from Iridium to your computer, then you load up the impulse response software. It'll tell you what currently is loaded. We also have some other collections of impulse responses.
So you can add stuff to it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Very cool.
There's 9 on board, but we ship. You have more.
Yeah.
To choose
there
from.
are some more free ones available on that software for you to experiment with that were provided by Ownhammer and Cab IR.
Now, I get mono and stereo some. What is that? Just basically 2-channel mono?
This is it's basically an input control. So mono, you always so if you have a mono input, then you set it to mono. You can get a stereo output if you have a stereo, but so mono input, in the middle it's stereo, meaning if you're sending a stereo input into Iridium, it's all the amp models and the impulse response and everything is actually full stereo, so that if you had a ping pong delay or something before it, that can all stay true. But so that's for a stereo input. And then the sum is if you have a stereo input, but you're only going to use one output and you want to sum that output to mono.
Oh, okay.
It'll sum the.
So this input here has a stereo jack too. So if you have a stereo out from one of your stereo pedals, it goes right in there.
TRS, yeah. And then you set that switch to stereo, and then.
Very cool. That sum thing is really a cool thing. That's a handy thing to do.
Because if you have your pedal board set up where you've got it set up for stereo, but then you're just going to have some gig or practice with just a single amplifier or something, you might want to just set that to sum and I guess that happens even when you're bypassing the pedal. If you're going into a regular amplifier, say, and you don't have to like reroute your pedal board to whether you're running your stereo.
No, that's very, very cool.
Yep, and then on the front you've got a headphone jack. So if you want to rehearse or try some stuff out,
right there.
It's really nice to if you have your pedal board set up and you want to play at home and just get your whole pedal board tone right in your headphones. That's a really convenient way to do that. Also, if you're auditioning, you're setting up your pedal board, and you want to audition different cabs. That's another great way to do it when you're by your computer loading up new IRs.
Very, very cool. Well, let's go through the different the cabs on this one, and then we'll go to the next amp.
Sure. Yeah. So here's the Lux Reverb from NAMM. This is the slot A. So here's like the control of the mid range here. So that you can hear it get fatter there.
Yeah, it has that tweed darkness to it, and a little fatter.
And then with it all the way down, you can get very it's kind of scooped. So cab B is the Blues Junior, which actually's got a little bit of a kind of a boxier sound to it. It's a smaller cabinet, and it actually kind of works well with kind of the tweed style type of sounds. So compared to
it's a little more lower mids. Push the mid down all the way over, so it's like the old one.
Right.
It should get that. Let's get that like tweed deluxe sound.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets kind of raspy and stuff.
The drive is nice. It's a little more subtle but it works. It blooms good. It gets that distortion.
Yeah. So then the Vibrolux 210 cab is a little deeper, and it's got a little bit of more of a natural scoop. The way the speakers kind of interfere or phase with each other. So. So that's the three speakers that we have for the round amp.
Okay. Those are nice cabs, well thought out. Okay, so now the chime. What's the chime?
Yeah, the chime is based on the top boost channel of an AC30. So it's the classic Beatles and Queen and those the British Invasion and it's got more gain on tap, and again the tone stack on that amplifier also was just bass and treble, and the bass control is a very kind of a multifaceted bass control that I'll talk about, and then there's also a high cut control on that amplifier. The more you turn it up, it would roll off the high end, so we used the middle knob on Iridium to implement that high cut control.
Okay. And then before you start playing, what are the cabs for A, B, and C?
Yeah, A is a from NAMM, and it's a 112, no, a 212 with El Nico.
Open back?
Yes.
Yes, 212 open back. El Nico blue with Celestion El Nico blue speakers, which is kind of the classic combo combination in there.
Okay, and then what's B?
B is 112.
This is the quiz, so you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
if you can remember.
It's a 112 closed back, also with that Celestion El Nico, and it's from Celestion, isn't it?
Yes, you are correct. You're
very
correct.
good.
2
Very good.
points.
Yeah, very nice.
Celestion, is it a blue?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a closed back 112, which I've got a one of the hand wired AC15s with the kind of oversized 112 closed back speaker. It's a great cabinet. Yeah.
Oh, they're popular. Yes. The Frank Stallone swears by the AC15.
Oh,
he
yeah,
loves
yeah.
it. Yeah. And then what's C?
C is it's a Mesa Boogie
Yep.
cab.
412.
412 with the tops loaded with the Celestion V75s, are they?
The Black Shadow MC90s.
Oh, that's the
Am I wrong?
EVs. Are the electric
Oh, yeah.
voices?
Yes, you're right. You got it. Yep.
Yeah. So the Black Shadow electric voice speakers on the bottom, and then
Yep.
the Celestions on top, which was very big when I went to Guitar Institute in the late '80s. That was the rig to have, was the Mesa Boogie speakers with the EVs on the bottom and the Celestions on the top. So
Which Celestians? Blues?
No, they were they the 75? No, I forget which ones are the Celestions were.
MC90, that's what.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the MC90 is the Celestian?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that way
That's interesting. That's an interesting stack, yeah.
right, you get like kind of the projection of the higher the presence of the Celestians, and then on the bottom end you've got the kind of.
Is that an
depth.
angled cabinet? So the Celestians are shooting up?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. That was the idea. So
All right, well, let's take
Okay.
a listen to this. Is interesting.
So the bass control on the Vox is an interesting one, because it's really like bass and middle wrapped into one. So when you turn the bass down, it's also you're turning the bass down and you're turning the middle up, is really what's happening. The way they used, instead of using a resistor as a variable resistor, they basically used the middle part. If for people who understand resistors, they use the wiper to basically kind of go from the range from what would be full bass to full middle. So when you turn the bass up, you're turning the bass up, but you're also turning the mid down. And it's one of the reasons that the amplifiers are so versatile and can do so many different styles, is because it's just kind of like can set from bassy and hollow to kind of fat and mid-rangey. So I'll just play a chord and then kind of move the bass.
Okay, so it's all the way down right
yeah, right now it's down. So it's it's very mid-range sounding there. And then at the extreme, you can really hear it, just like it gets completely scooped.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've got a little more gain on tap, and I'm wondering if this is set up in for line level in potentially. I don't remember.
I don't know.
Because it seems like it's a little bit shy on gain compared to what I'd be.
How do you switch that?
It's a power up mode that I don't remember. But actually, no, maybe we're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
Yeah, I think actually I'm just not used to. I've been playing a different guitar through it for at home, and I think I was just kind of. My expectations were getting a little bit interfered by that, but so yeah, this is with the gain all the way up, which is a little bit kind of hot rodded. The Iridium has on its input, and there's two of them because they're separate channels, but we have our JFET analog input stage, which basically acts as the it's involved in the first stage of the tube modeling, but it's also a shaped analog gain, so it allows us to we can kind of map it how we want to with the gain control. So at the very end of the travel of the gain here, we add essentially kind of like a treble booster push to the front end, and then it makes it really easy to hear the effect of the different cabs when you've got that much gain, because there's a lot of frequencies to work with. So this is the cab A from Owen Hammer, and I switched my just like a regular amp. If you have guitars with interference, you'll amplify the interference.
Oh, you're getting the fluorescent lights.
Fluorescents are getting there, yeah. And these humbuckers, I like them there, but I think one of the reasons I like them is because they're not actually, the coils are kind of imbalanced, which means it gives it a little bit higher, brighter tone, which I like, but also means it does a worse job of canceling. But
and that's with the 212 cabinet with the Alnico Blues.
That's correct, yeah.
That's nice.
So now we can hear the effect of the high cut, which is implemented on the middle control. So that was at 12 o'clock, and this is
full down.
Full down, which actually means the brightest signal. That's the way it is on the Vox. Like when you turn it up, it's cutting more high. So this is cutting. It's not cutting any highs, right? So you really get kind of a top end
it's bright,
presence there. So you can use the treble control with the high cut to really kind of tailor the high end there. Now if I turn the high cut up, so now I turn the treble up, and it's going to bring, like, basically the high cut is really working on the presence frequencies, the really high ones. So
yeah, it's a presence control.
Yeah, so you can turn the treble up and the high cut up, and kind of like get some definition to it, but lose some of that high end sharpness.
Now, I want you to go ahead and play. I'm going to do something to kind of show what we'll do the mid one first. Or you can go ahead and do it. While he's playing, just sweep it from all the way on, all the way off, and all the way on. Just go back and forth. And you play so they can hear what it's doing.
Sure.
So he's turning it down. So you can hear the presence. It's acting like a presence switch. It gives that sparkle. So sweep it again, but faster. So you get an idea. Okay, now try the bass control. Keep playing and sweep that slow, and then that one. So go all the way down. There you go. Okay.
Quite a range.
And then sweep it faster. Now it's interesting because what he's doing when you start turning it down where it's almost off, you're getting a mid boost, but it's kind of a resonant boost, so it gets like a little honk.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is a characteristic of the Vox, and it's a really cool sound.
Yeah.
So that is very, very nice. Go ahead and play for a second. I'll show you. Right there. It's around 9 to 11. So he gets that squawk out of it, which gets that really cool sound.
Yeah. That's cab A, and let's
the 1x12.
Yeah. So that was the 212. So we'll go to the 1x12.
Close back.
Yeah. So you hear different low end response, not quite as deep, but
it's tight.
But it's tighter. Yeah.
It's a nice sound. It's tight.
Yeah, the Vox turned up. They're fun to play with. That the problem even with that AC-15, the only time I can turn that up is when the building is empty, because the 15-watt amp
Yeah.
is so
It's
loud.
so, yeah, with that blue, the blues are real efficient.
Right, yeah, for sure. So this is nice. You can, do this in the privacy of your own home.
And not get kicked out.
And not,
That's got great tone.
yeah, I like this one. Hopefully these levels are okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. And if we, dial it back a little bit, then you can get. This is a good one for, for the kind of like sparkly.
Use both pickups to get the that kind of out of phase sound.
Right.
But it's interesting because you have the gain up enough where it breaks up nice, but you're playing clean, so it's still clean, but it gets a nice little dirt to it.
Yeah, it is very dynamic. Like it responds well to volume controls and in playing dynamics.
Yeah, it responds very natural, like a real amp.
So then cab C, this is the Mesa 412. It's a little fuller.
Yeah. It's got that girth to it, but it also has that brightness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what those cabinets are known for. Of course, you can really clean it up. I think I've experienced this before. I'm hearing a little bit of the acoustic strings through the microphone, which kind of changes the tonality a little bit. So I guess,
when you play, I'll mute your mic so it's a little easier.
Okay, yeah, let's
but
see.
I know it's quiet in here.
Yeah, let's
let me mute it. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh yeah, it makes it feel better from my end. But yeah, that's fine. That's I was.
No, you're there.
It, yeah.
It sounds great. It sounds really good. Okay, now the third one.
The third amp is the Punch amp, which is based on the Marshall Super Lead 1959, which is not the year of the amplifier, but the model.
Yep.
And it was 100 watts, and louder than the Vox even, I guess.
So it has more. It's that model has more gain than even the Vox.
It does. We do the same thing where we kind of go like in a kind of a hot rodded at the end of the travel.
Mm-hmm.
Those amplifiers. If people could, the idea was like you turn all the knobs up, and that's when the thing really kind of sings. But it wasn't. It's not high gain like in the modern sense of like the JCM 800s or the.
So it's like a plexi.
Exactly. That's what it is. So it's again it's a non-master volume amp, which all three of the amplifiers in Iridium are non-master volume, and so it's got it's gain, but it's not like
but you have what they don't have is you have the gain boost.
Right. We've got a gain boost, and then also a lot of people, of course, have their own overdrives and distortion pedals that they like, and we wanted to make sure that Iridium plays well with those. So if you ever want to kick in the extra gain, then Iridium will work really well with it. So
now what are the cabinets on this guy?
The first cabinet is a 412 cabinet from Owen Hammer, and it's what are the speakers? Are those Celestians?
So we got Celestian G12M.
The greenbacks or those blue?
No.
Yeah, they are the greenbacks.
I think that would be.
Oh yeah, the G12Ms. Yeah, the G12M or the greenbacks. I Pretty sure.
Either that or the black.
But
There's black back, cream back. There's
right.
so many different colors. But that's okay. It's the G12M. So that's a 4x12, and that's an angled cabinet model. 4x12 Marshall
yes,
cabinet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what's the B?
B is the 212 cabinet with vintage Celestion vintage 30s, and the impulse response is from Celestion.
And that one's open back.
Open back, yeah.
Vintage 30s open back, and that's a 212 Marshall cabinet.
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking is there is a different the way the thickness of the wood and of the way the cabinet affects that sound. So, okay, and then what's C?
C is a Marshall 812. Now this is this is a kind of a rare cabinet.
Yeah.
It's actually an 812 cabinet. It's and it's provided by Cab IR, and it's a
Are those
65 with they've got Celestion Alnico speakers.
which ones does it say?
The T652.
Yep.
T52?
652.
Yep.
T652.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's an interesting. That 812 cabinet's
Yeah, it's fun. I like that
and
one.
it's a lot lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, let's take a listen to this guy.
All right. There is kind of clean settings here.
And the bass, treble, and middle controls are standard Marshall, or is there anything weird going on there?
Nothing weird. This one, the matrix modeling. We put the tone stack values in there, and pretty much you get the identical response out of them. Yeah.
It breaks up nice.
Yeah, and this one's got kind of a really kind of solid low end response. The Super Lead had a solid state rectifier in it, so it gets a little kind of more aggressive response on it.
Gain stage.
So there's the middle, just like on the deluxe amp, the middle. When you push the middle, you can you get a little more gain. But
yeah,
it's also really the way it interacts with the other tone controls. It really changes the character of the gain. Like I'll start with the middle up and then bring it down.
Or go ahead and turn it down while it's playing. It scoops it. That's a nice sound. Okay, then cabinet B. Let's hear what that thing sounds.
All right. So not as much low end on this one, but it's got a nice presence to it. If you want to get like a real aggressive kind of mid-tone here. Might balance out. I mean, it all depends what sound you're looking for, but the mid control in the Marshall, when you have some gain up, is really important.
Well, it's interesting because when you it doesn't have the low end response, but in a mix, it'll cut.
Right, yeah, for sure.
You got to think that way too. In a recording environment, there is a difference, and it does stay out of the way of the bass.
Yeah.
Very cool. It's got a great sound. Those speaker the IRs are just killer.
Well, that's one of the things that we worked with the IR guys who provided to us, and we wanted to get a good variety of sounds, and the ability to run their highest quality impulse responses at 500 kiloseconds. 500 milliseconds at 90. That would be a lot of seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
How many? But at 96 kilohertz for 500 milliseconds, really, any of the the interaction of the mic and the cabinets and the reflections, it's like all of that gets to be captured. So that, and I think it makes a difference that just in the experience of playing it that ultimately it translates.
Okay, let's listen to the third cabinet.
Okay, so the 812, and now it depends, where how it's being captured, but the it's actually brighter than you might expect the way, but it's got this great top end to it. So that would really cut through nicely.
That's nice. It's really aggressive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Even when you turn the treble back, it's still had a lot of top end. That's where like the mid control, because just like these tone stacks, they're very interactive. In the original amp, so you can get a really wide range of sounds. And this also cleans up, pretty nice. Again, if you just some playing some.
That 812. It's just sparkles a little more. It gets a chimier sound. And then you can go into using the USB. You could actually put the 812 in the chime, right?
You want to?
You can move them around.
Sure.
Because this would sound good with the Vox.
Yeah. You can do experiment with that, and even there's some more impulse responses that are provided free with the software, so you can audition other ones that are already available through the interface of the software.
Right.
And speaking of auditioning them, it's especially when you have high gain Marshall stuff, it's kind of fun to switch back and forth between the cabs while you're playing.
Yeah.
That might be kind of something fun to do, because you could really hear the difference in the cabs. There's the 812. Really hear the change. It's like very, very distinct flavors.
Yeah, it definitely affects the overall tone. Now, we're almost out of time. I'm going to have to, we were going to cover the Flint, but we just didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you guys to come back and we'll do this one. I don't want to shortchange it if it's okay, because there's a lot on this thing too. And judging from all the other pedals that you've done, there's so much depth in them. I don't want to shortchange it. So this is out now, right?
That's correct. Yeah, we started shipping in the very end of October, I guess.
Yep.
And this is amazing. This is a great pedal. And explain real quick. You were talking. Can you chain more than one of these? Were you talking about or do the MIDI? You were mentioning. I forgot what it was at the beginning of the show. I wanted to understand that a little better. Or you just it's set up to.
If you're talking about if you have a MIDI controller, you can access up to 300 presets. Is that what you were referring to?
That, and then with the expression pedal, what does that expression input? You were saying something about it.
You could use it for MIDI, or you could use it for. We have something called the Multi-Switch Plus, which has 3 foot switches on it, and that allows you to access 3 additional presets. So it can be used with many of our pedals.
Oh, okay. So that switcher allows you to, so you'd actually have 4.
It's a little smart switch. So it's got 3 foot switches. So that would add 3 more in addition to the one that's on board, which is also in addition to the one that isn't, that currently is just set up on the amp. So you would have access to 5 sounds. So without going into MIDI and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, or you can also plug in an expression pedal and use it as a volume pedal, which is really convenient.
That's right.
Oh, very
That's
nice.
right.
Very, very nice. Now, one other question is, in using this in a pedal board setup with other Strymon pedals, you had brought in the Blue Sky, which has its own speaker emulator out. Where would you put this in the chain? What you would recommend in your pedal board, would you put this, like it would switch between this and the Blue Sky, or would you put the Blue Sky before this, or?
I would probably, and it's the Big Sky that has the
Big Sky. I'm sorry,
that has the cab. So I would say if I had a Big Sky that I was going to use in the rig, I would switch the cab off on the Big Sky, because you want to be,
Use
the
this.
Big Sky cab's a nice utility, but like the Iridium is a different level of implementation. So use the Iridium, and then I would go out of the Iridium into Big Sky, and then Big Sky then can go direct to your board. But so basically that's like adding post effects. You've got your amplifier
Right.
sound, and then you're going to add a reverb
Right.
on top of it.
No, because these amp simulators are so superior. I mean, it's great. I mean, I was impressed with the Big Sky and how that sounded.
Yeah,
I mean, that sounded really good.
Yeah, and we still love it, and it still does sound good. But if you have an Iridium, I think you'd be better off to use the Iridium's, really kind of sophisticated cabinet. Plus, you've got all the different options of switching with them, and then just run that into the Big Sky.
Well, everybody, we're already out of time, and you definitely have to come back. We have to talk about this guy, and there's even more. There's more pedals coming up. But it's www.strymon.net, and check this out. And they're going to be showing this at NAMM this year, and at the first of the year. So check it out. This thing's amazing. I'm really impressed with the sounds of the cabs and the amps, the gains that you just got it. You tweaked it right.
Thanks.
And I want to thank you guys again for all coming down. It's always a pleasure, and I look forward for the next show. We'll be doing more. There's much more to be explored with Strymon. So everybody, have a great evening, and we will see you next week. Take care, and thank you guys again.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Jack, for putting this together.